Hi, I'm Batman, and today we're going to have an episode of To the Edge discussing Batman, among other films. So, you two, how do you feel, citizens of Gotham, about the Batman films, the recent Christopher Nolan trilogy?
Oh, I love Christian Bale, and I think he does an amazing job as Batman.
I enjoy them. I mean, I think, like most people, it peaked with the second of the new ones with Heath Ledger and his a well-deserved legendary performance as the Joker. The newest one I did see in the IMAX theater. I don't know all the subtitles, but the third installment of the new Batman. It was such a well-made movie. It's hard to argue against it, but at the same time, it was very bleak, depressing, kind of a downer. You know, it has the happy ending and it has a nice build-up, but the whole, as it were, second act of the movie with was it Bane in control of the situation?
In the movie, yeah, it was Bane.
Yeah, just really a bleak, kind of apocalyptic, depressing type of deal. You know what I mean? It wasn't. It was so sour, of a watching experience for me anyway.
I thought it was kind of overdone. They crammed too much into one film. It's like if it were two films, it would have been better.
Right.
And another thing is, I don't get why they had an 8-year gap. I think that was a bit excessive. And at the end of The Dark Knight, Bruce Wayne, Batman, he seemed to be in good shape, and then suddenly at the beginning, it's like he can barely walk. It's like, what happened in between? It's like we missed something. So really, it's like there should have been a movie in between, and then the movie we saw should have been split in two. So it's like we got 5 movies crammed into 3.
Interesting theory. Katie,
don't you agree?
Well, being completely honest, I only saw the first 2.
Oh, okay.
I did not see the third one, but I've heard mixed reviews all around. Some people really liked it, and some people really didn't. And I feel like there's no in between. You either liked it or you didn't.
Yeah, I didn't like it. I like the first 2.
Okay.
I love the first 2. The first 2 were great.
Well, here's a concept for you. Is it possible that when you see a movie and the circumstances that you see a movie dictate to some extent how much you like the movie? For instance, I saw what's the movie with Leonardo DiCaprio in this thing?
Oh, that movie with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Inception.
Inception, thank you.
Yeah.
So that was the end of the movie. Did you see Inception?
I did.
Okay, so you know what I'm talking about this, right? I won't give it away for the viewers that haven't seen Inception, but I saw the movie in Maine in a very cramped theater. It was a nice theater with a balcony and everything, but I got in there late, so I had like the worst seat in the theater, you know what I'm saying? Like it was kind of crunched, and there's people in front of me, and I'm sitting in a weird spot. So, and there's someone right in front of me, which I don't like. I like to, put my feet up and stuff.
He didn't have a huge afro, did he?
No, this was Maine, so that wasn't going to happen. So anyway, I'm sitting there watching this movie, and like ironically, I dozed off a little bit during Inception, because of the movie. It has a lot of sleep references. So, but when I saw the third Batman in the IMAX, which is great.
Yeah.
So that kind of revs up the experience. That makes it seem like bigger than life.
You didn't feel the explosions.
Right, and the sound quality was awesome. But if you saw the third Batman or any of the Batman in a second-run theater, $1.50, $2, 50-cent theater, would it be effective at all, or would it be a miserable experience?
I think it's definitely going to impact the experience that you have, and if you are actually going to fully enjoy the movie or not. If you're cramped up and you can't move and you're uncomfortable, are you going to be able to focus on the movie, or are you going to be focusing on your back that is slowly aching and your butt that's falling asleep?
I remember when I went to see Gladiator, I went in the very front. I watched the movie like this the whole time. It was horrible.
Yeah.
I had like a neck ache by the end. I felt like I had as much damage as the characters who were in the gladiatorial match. I was like, ow!
Did you like? Yeah, go ahead.
That's unfortunate that you had bad experience, though, watching Inception, because it is I thought, a very good, very well done movie.
Right. Well, here's a question. You just said very well done movie. And a friend of mine just the other night said that he saw a movie which was shot well, which, means like the cinematographer did a good job. But if a movie is shot well or is very well done, does that mean you're seeing this thing as kind of like a business thing and not like an emotional reaction to a movie? You know what I mean?
It depends if it's like an emotional investment, like in a drama piece, or if it's like a visual experience, like Ooh, wow, that looked great. I mean, it depends upon what the film is trying to focus on.
I
Okay.
think it also depends on who is watching the movie. If you have someone like us who's involved in the industry, we're going to be picking up on different things maybe than someone who's watching a movie right off the street that has no knowledge of what goes on in the process of movie making. I know that when I watch movies now, it's not the same.
Right.
I do pay attention to what the DP, director of photography, has done in terms of the image that I'm watching on screen.
I'm the only one of my friends who can sit down and watch a movie, and then we get to the credits. I'm like, I want to see the credits, and it means something to me.
Exactly, like watching who did what, and
Right.
I find that very interesting. Meanwhile, a lot of people just want to get up and leave the theater and not pay attention to the people that actually put what you just saw together.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
like
it's-
we don't care who you are. We just want to see what you did.
Well, I think it's respectful to watch the end credits. You know, I mean, if that makes any sense. But you're right, Katie. Like in the business and Roland, you know, we watch the credits because we want to give 5 minutes of our time to the gaffer, the best boy, the grips. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I mean, a lot of times people go to the movies and they just want to see, oh, who's the main actor, who's the main actress, who was in this movie, who did what. But in reality, when you are on a movie set and you see how things are put together, yes, the actors have a big part. They're the ones telling the stories. The movie wouldn't be the way it is if you didn't have everyone else there on crew doing their particular part. So
You know, it was great from 1975 on back. They used to have the credits in the front, so you
Oh,
have
yeah.
to sit through them.
I like that because then
They
you
should go back to it.
and it also kind of brings you yeah, I think you're right, Roland, because watching the credits in front of the movie and you have a musical interlude, it kind of sets the pace for this movie. You know, and kind of like what music is being chosen, how are the font of the credits being typed up. It kind of takes you into another world, a segue from wherever you're coming from into the theater or even in your own home into the world of the movie.
But very recently, they don't even do that anymore. They just show the title and then just jump right into it. You don't even see the names of the actors until the very end anymore.
why do you think they do that? Do they do that to keep people's interest in the movie?
Yeah, short attention spans, and they just want to jump into the action, hook you right away in the first 5 minutes, sometimes the first 2 minutes.
Shame.
Well, you know, I'll talk about myself a little bit if you guys don't mind. Like,
Yeah, go ahead.
I make independent films, very, very, very independent films, and when I'm doing that, my concentration is on the actors and the dialogue. And my director of photography has, I think he's very modest in his work because, and he's not conscious. It's not his priority to make some super shot, you know, on I don't even know the words because I'm so far out of that mentality of tracks.
shot.
You know what I mean? Like we're not spending time setting up tracks to make a swooping camera shot because we'd rather concentrate on the performances of the actors.
Right.
And I know a lot of my friends who make movies, they put together a nice storyboard and all this cool stuff. It's great, but they're really trying to make a movie that's like a high budget movie on a low budget, and they're concerned with this shot, you know, and no one's going to know how we did this shot. I mean, I was recently on a set where that was spoken by the producer, like, they'll never guess how we did this shot. And I'm thinking, you know, who are you catering to? It's to other local filmmakers. You know, like you're making your shot so that your colleagues and friends can reference your shot. Where's the storytelling? You see what I'm saying?
I
Yeah.
guess it depends on what it is that you're going for. I mean, if you're making the movie for viewing pleasure, then that kind of stuff isn't necessarily going to be of importance. But if you're making your own independent movie to showcase, to potentially get more work and maybe get higher budget so you can do, you know, big elaborate shots, then I guess,
Yeah, I hear you.
Something like that is the reason why you should have separation. You should have the writers, the producers, the directors. One can focus on the story. The other, who's obsessed with purely technical, he can focus on that. And then you have a balance. Otherwise, you have someone who's focused only on technical who doesn't care about the story, and then it's going to show. And I think most people are there for the story because when you see the visuals, after the first impression, it wears off after a while. Because in 1996, Independence Day, when they blew up the White House, that looked impressive. But now no one cares about that. You have to see the entire city destroyed in one frame. It just becomes less impressive as technology advances.
But then you have movies such as James Cameron's Avatar.
Okay.
And I think majority of people went to go see that, not just because it was advertised as being in 3D and come see this movie in 3D, but it was visually very appealing. And when I
Right.
talked to people after they had seen the movie, that was the number one thing that they were commenting on, was how beautiful all the shots were,
Right.
not necessarily the storyline.
That's what I mean. You have someone focusing on a different aspect. On the storyline, I think it's adequate. If you don't notice a problem with it, then the story's fine. It's when you notice things that it either jumps out either good or ill.
I like that, good or ill. That's great. Okay, so let's talk about this, if we could. What are some movies recently that you guys have captured your attention? You said, hey, that was a great movie, regardless of whether it's story or special effects.
Prometheus.
Okay, cool. The Alien.
Well, the alien is barely in it. He's only in there in the end. But mostly it's talking about ancient astronauts.
Right, but that was the what I meant to say was
Yeah,
the
it was a prequel to Alien, yeah.
Alien and Aliens. You know. What about you, Katie?
2 movies that I saw recently stood out to me. One, Hugo,
Okay.
and the other was Snow White and the Huntsman.
Oh, with Charlize Theron.
Oh, she's amazing.
An excellent actress. I was reading in a book called The Power of the Actor by Ivana Chubbuck that Charlize Theron, when she was taking acting classes, she would study so hard that she would actually ask for and receive 2 scenes, you know, per assignment. So she would ask to be doubled up for scenes. And then if she happened to get a movie gig at the time she was taking this acting class, she would have her classmates come to the set and work with her during her breaks because she was so dedicated. The writer of the book, Ivana Chubbuck, The Power of the Actor is the book. It's a great book for acting. Said that Charlize Theron, although she's beautiful, was also the most dedicated student, and it shows because now she's an Academy Award winner.
And she's, yeah, speechless. She's that good.
Who else was in the Huntsman movie, the Snow White and the Huntsman?
Kristen Stewart, who normally I don't care for. However, I thought that the role that she played was very, very fit for her.
Okay.
So that being said, the message that her character was trying to portray definitely was picked up.
Great. I saw a movie with Kristen Stewart just a few days ago called What Happened, and it's a movie, it's kind of a parody of Hollywood. It's Robert De Niro plays a movie producer, and then he's trying to produce a movie with Bruce Willis, and Bruce Willis plays Bruce Willis, but in this fictional attempt to make a movie with Bruce Willis, they want the, you know, die-hard type of Bruce Willis, you know, clean-cut, good-looking, intense.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Bruce Willis, playing himself, has grown a huge beard.
And he's kind of let himself go.
He's let himself go by 20 or 30 pounds, and he thinks that that's his new image, is the bearded, chubby Bruce Willis. And the whole movie is Robert De Niro, who's not playing Robert De Niro. Robert De Niro is playing this movie producer, trying to get Bruce Willis to lose weight and shave the beard. And I'll give it a little bit away if you guys don't mind. At the end,
No, go ahead.
this is such an obscure movie, you know. But at the end of the movie, Bruce Willis is in his trailer, and he's got a whole set of people looking to see if he shaved his beard. And he comes out, and he's got a profile, and you see the beard, and then the whole cast and crew of this movie, and Robert De Niro as the producer, they go, "Oh, he didn't shave the beard." And then Bruce Willis turns, and you see his full face, and he's got half his face is shaved, and half still has the beard because he's in the middle of shaving, and he
Oh,
says,
no.
"Let's make a movie," you know, and then everyone, "Yeah," you know what I mean? So
I'm like Two-Faced now.
it was crazy. But a movie like that, What Happened, even though it has Bruce Willis and Robert De Niro and also Sean Penn's in the movie, it's such a it's a very intelligent movie, and I don't think it's going to get. I mean, it's already on Netflix and stuff. I don't think it had a big box office appeal.
Those types of movies rarely do when they're focused that small scale. I saw a film called The TV Set, and it was about the process of producing a pilot, and barely anyone's seen it.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. Who was in it? Do you remember?
David Duchovny, Sigourney Weaver.
Those great actors.
Yeah.
You know, Katie, here's the thing for me and you and for Roland as actors, we always want to get that stardom, that fame. I mean, that's part of the package. We want to be in the position, I think, speaking on myself, where we are famous enough to be able to get the high-end projects, right?
Yeah.
Like we're not that the fame in itself is the great thing of being pestered by media or whatever, but having that recognition factor to say, well, I want to be in a top movie, and that my agent or whoever is going to hook me up with that, with an audition, or even not even have to audition. You want that level of success.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Or if the clout to produce whatever you want.
Right.
while watching movies such as, Snow White and the Huntsman, I sit there and I ask myself, can I play this role?
Sure.
And there's a lot of movies out there where I'll watch and I do, like, I say that to myself, but it's not about reaching stardom or fame. It's more so just about being successful as an actor and being in, it is nice to be involved in projects where you are getting compensated for your acting. I mean, ultimately that's my goal, to be able to live on that career.
To be a working actor.
Right.
Yeah, not have to do something that you don't want to do just to make ends meet.
Yeah, which a lot of us end up doing. I'm sure a lot of you that are watching right now don't necessarily like your jobs, but you do them anyway.
Well, herein lies the rub. When you have like the TV set movie with David Duchovny and Sigourney Weaver, excellent actor, excellent actress, these people work so hard to get to their career. David Duchovny with Californication and Red Shoe Diaries and The X-Files and everything he's done. And then you have Sigourney Weaver with Ghostbusters, Working Girl, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
They get to this level of fame, and you think, oh, anything they do is going to be golden. Not anymore, because then they do a movie like TV Set, and it's straight to Netflix or straight to video. Or
It's not a bad movie. It just didn't appeal to most people because who is interested in watching a movie about putting together a pilot? The layman isn't.
Well, you and I and Katie would probably be.
Well, we're different.
Right.
I'm talking about the average person. They're not interested in watching how a pilot is put together.
Well, my point is that it's just sad that fame is fleeting. You can be a top actor, you can be at the top of your charts as far as acting ability and being able to generate money from the audience, but then 6 months later, a year later, or 5 years later, not so much.
Yeah, first you're hot, then you're not.
Right.
I noticed that, in the New England community, there are a lot of very talented people in the industry, and it's sad to say that these people get looked over by people that, are more popular and that the average population can recognize, such as, I hate bringing it up again, Snooki.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure.
Some movie makers might opt to put her in the movie just because it'll draw general interest rather than using someone who actually has the talent and the skill to play a great role.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, my one of my movie heroes, believe it or not, is Sylvester Stallone. Not just from the Rocky movies. Not a huge Rambo guy, but
Shocker.
But I like the Rocky movies. But Stallone in an issue from 2010 of Cigar Aficionado. Because Katie, you're a big cigar smoker, right?
Yeah.
You smoke cigars.
I smoke the occasional
I had
cigar.
one before I came in. actually.
But Sylvester Stallone in Cigar Aficionado said that he's always hoping that some great project will come to him already with funding and a producer, everything in place, and all he has to do is go and act in it. But he says that's really not the case with his career, because Rocky he did on his own, and a lot of his projects, like The Expendables, have been Sylvester Stallone generated projects. So his point succinctly is that you have to make your own work. And as an actress, as an actor myself, and Roland doing his public access show that we're guests on, To the Edge, you really have to put yourself out there and make things happen for yourself. If you're, believe me, I have so many people that I meet in my life, and they say, what are you into? I'm an acting coach. I almost don't even want to get into it with them, because the next thing you know is like, I could be an actor, why don't you use me? But they haven't taken a class, they haven't read a book, they're just assuming that because they make their friends laugh at the water cooler that they can do something with acting, but they don't want to put the work in. You see
And
what I'm
there's
saying?
the distinction. You have the genuine talent who works hard and wants to be recognized, and then you have the people like, I want to do this for the glamour, hire me.
Right.
And then
Your Snookies of the
Yeah.
world.
Yeah.
there's a huge difference between the two, and you have to recognize the difference between them and who they are.
Well, even the layman Snooki. I mean, the Snooki, at least she's doing something, as lame as she is, but at least she's out there.
Say she's lame.
Well, she's a little lame.
Well, if you're doing something, then it counts. You can always get better. Or
Yeah.
you're known for something, you're not known for nothing. You're like, appreciate me, give me work.
Right.
You have to do something.
Well, that's what I was getting at, and like we go back to the Batman movies, Batman has a rich lineage. That's why people care. You know, Batman was a
Right.
graphic novel. He was around, 30 or 40 years as a graphic novel before they even did a TV show.
Yeah, that's right. The comic started in 1939. The show started in 1966. And they actually had serials in the 1940s, 2 of them.
Like breakfast cereals?
No, film serials.
Oh, film cereals,
You-
okay.
Have you heard of
the little
serials?
bats in a bowl.
Well, before television,
Right.
they used to have like 15-minute short films that people go to see in the theater every week. People used to actually go into the theater all the time.
Right.
And then you'd watch the new adventures every weekend, and it would always end on a cliffhanger. So you'd go back to the cinema the following week. It's kind of like a soap opera or a serial.
I would actually like to see those serials of Batman from that era. Do you
I
know?
have those, yeah.
Nice,
I'll
I'll
show
watch
them
them
to
with you. Good.
Yeah.
Who played Batman? Do you remember? Was it a few guys? Or?
They had 2 actors, one in the 43 serial and the other in the 49 serial. Robert Lowry and someone else. They're both dead.
Okay. Well, I didn't know they were sick.
Well, do the math.
So I mentioned the Stallone thing. I'd be interested in what you guys, Katie and Roland, have to say. Do you guys have? You mentioned Charlize Theron, or you said she did a great job. Do you have any other film heroes or people in the business that inspire you to do your own thing?
Yes. You know, I admire actors that are able to transform into completely different people and really spread themselves across the board, not play the same character all the time. And that is something that you find happens in the industry. Typecasting, it's a real thing. And
Yeah.
you know, you have your actors and actresses. One in particular, Jennifer Aniston. She's
Okay,
typecast.
sure.
She plays the same role in every single movie, same type of character.
Mm-hmm.
But then you have your actors like Charlize Theron, Johnny Depp, Meryl Streep, who I admire greatly just because they can be anyone.
Right.
Anyone.
I have a
And
lot more respect for those types of actors than
Absolutely.
whoever's just the same person.
I might argue with the Jennifer Aniston thing, though. What movies have you seen her in that were kind of the same? I'm curious.
She every movie she always plays the like casual, like kind of girl next door ish type of character. What have I seen? I saw the hippie movie she did.
Oh, all right,
recently.
yeah. And she also did the one with Ben Stiller. What about Polly or something, or
What about
something like that?
yeah.
But do you think
Along
it's kind of
Came
a
Polly,
trap?
yeah.
Because these actors or actresses, they're not going for these roles just because it's the only role they can play, but some producers or directors will be like, hey, I remember him or her from that role, let's cast them in something similar. So they just keep getting similar work.
I think that happens. I mean, everyone knows Jennifer Aniston from TV
Friends.
show Friends, and
Right.
her character in Friends, when you think about it, is very similar to the character she plays in other movies. And
Yeah.
no doubt she's getting approached by producers and directors saying, hey, we have this role, we'd love you to play it, and offer her a certain amount of money, and hell, I'd do it too.
Sure.
Play it the same
You
as
know?
you did before. Okay, great. No real challenge. It's a paycheck.
But sometimes I'm guilty of this. Like a Vince Vaughn, I mark out for him. I think Vince Vaughn in Swingers and so on and so forth, he plays the same type of guy, Couples Retreat, whatever. He plays the same type of Vince Vaughn, funny guy. I enjoy that shtick, you know what I mean? 4 Christmases, and I'm a Vince Vaughn fan, what can I tell you?
I think he has the ability, though, to play something very out of his character.
Okay.
I would love to see it. I haven't yet.
Did you see Psycho, the remake of Psycho?
No.
I believe that wasn't in. Was that Vince Vaughn in that or somebody else?
Yeah, I think it was him. I saw it and then I shut it off half an hour in.
Right.
I just thought it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Another actor that is multi-versatile, going back to Batman, is our very own Christian Bale. I mean, he
Yes.
fully takes on the role and transforms himself.
Mm-hmm.
He's what we call a method actor. He will talk like the actor for months on end until they finish filming.
The Fighter.
The Fighter, he lost a ton of weight to play Dickie Eklund.
Right.
And
And that's commitment.
he became Dickie Eklund. I grew up in the Lowell area where that movie was filmed, and right on.
Nice.
Heath Ledger, too, he was a real method actor. You'd have to be to portray the Joker like he did.
Oh, what a performance.
Now, here's a good question. As an acting coach myself, it's like, what does that story and being awarded the Academy Award post-mortem, after he passed away, what does that say? Does an actor have to go to the lengths that we think Heath Ledger did with the Joker? And lose his life, tragically to play a character, or is that just? Did he not have the support system? Did he not?
I thought
have,
he just died from a prescription drug overdose that didn't really have to do with anything else. The
What-
Joker filming was completed like long before that.
I think what was out there, though, people were suggesting that his transformation into the Joker led him into a mental state that he overdosed.
Right.
Because, is
I
that
think
what-
that's embellishment.
Okay, because what Roland's saying is valid, because does it add to the folklore of him as Joker? Is it almost like a publicity thing, like, oh, Heath Ledger in the performance that cost him his life? You know what I mean? Is that pop culture, the
Didn't cost him
society?
his life. It was just a coincidence.
Roland is very this
Because the filming was already completed,
Yeah.
and if you're an actor, you're pretending to be something. You're not becoming something.
right.
If you're a method actor, though, a lot of people, it depends on the actor and who you're talking to,
But can't you
how
like
they
mentally
prepare for
switch
it.
it off?
That's
You
what
would
I'm
think that
bringing
you
out.
would be able to.
That's
I-
ex-
you
yeah.
know, in my views as an actor, I think that you should be able to turn it on and off. You shouldn't. I don't necessarily agree with method acting, but for some people, that's what they believe in. That's what.
Well, I
works
think
for them.
there's a limit between method acting and a barrier between that and actually becoming something, like really becoming it. At that point, you've got like a psychological problem. That's not acting anymore.
Is that why he was on prescription drugs, though?
I don't know why he was on prescription drugs. I mean, I had a prescription for a cold, and that's not the same thing. Maybe he just had a cold.
Well, here's the deal with this. What I'm kind of getting at is one of these points that are coming up is even Tom Hanks is Forrest Gump. Supposedly I wasn't there, but had to go to therapy to break his mindset of being the slower Forrest Gump character, because he was so enraptured in that character of
I
Forrest
just yawned on
Gump.
camera. I got caught.
That's all right. I've been looking at I've been breaking the fourth wall for 3 episodes. So. But
That's not good.
I don't know. I think it's interesting when you get into acting. It's like you're a very vulnerable, fragile person as an actor, because you're allowing these human ranges of emotion to come through you, and sometimes you're even inhabiting a character that's so far out of your comfort zone that you could, I think, get into trouble pretty easily. I think that's within the human range of existence.
So what if you're acting and you play a mass murder? Do you say that they suddenly become a murderer?
I wouldn't say you necessarily suddenly become a murderer, but your morality might be more fragile, and you might have these crazy thoughts. To tell you the truth, I was even up for a role playing a really bad guy, and
Yeah.
it got into my system, and I didn't even end up doing the role. It was just simply an audition situation, and I actually stepped out of the situation because I said, if I'm getting this worked up about an audition, imagine if I do get cast for this if I get cast for this role, then I'm really going to be overboard. So I had to walk away from the project.
I believe that because I feel like if there's a certain role, say you have a female actress who has some type of a past with abuse, a childhood, whatever it may be, and their approach to play a particular role that might potentially trigger those thoughts, and they have every right to turn that down. But for some who don't, no doubt that definitely affects them
Yeah.
mentally.
There should be a study on that to see how it affects the actors and actresses.
Someone out there, get on it.
Let's study. Well, I'm just as an actor, I'll be honest. I've had those characters that I've done, and they will question your own sense of reality, your sense of morality.
Yeah.
I just think that's part of the game, and you try your best to have a support system of family and friends, or even yourself, that just breaks you out of it. But Roland, I think we got to go. So.
Yeah, we do. Well, that's the end of To the Edge for this week, and I hope you'll catch us next time.